Hello, gentle viewers. This is Indian. Welcome to a new channel update. I wanted to give you guys an idea of what was going to happen in 2021 with the channel and to solicit some feedback from y'all so you can tell me what you'd like to see on the channel, what I'm doing well, what I'm doing not so well, how I can make things better and more exciting for you. Hopefully you're all having a much better 2021 than your 2020 was. I know it was a pretty shitty year for most people, and I'm hoping that things are looking better so far, or that things will be getting better soon for you and your families. What's coming back to the channel in 2021? OTP 21 is coming back to the channel. And every time I do one of these channel update videos, I always get this sense in the back of my head that people are like, oh no, Abby's going to say he's scrapping Out of the Bark 21. He's never going to play it again. I'm done with the channel. I'm not going to do that. I may at some point scale back down to one video a week. But for now, I think the two series work well, and I think they're different enough that I'm able to keep engaged and still talk about baseball, which I love, and that you can enjoy these videos. So I put it in a nice big bold font so that all of you will feel very at ease. Imperator Rome is #1 on my list of games to bring back for a very simple reason. The Marius update. Somebody commented, I was pretty surprised to see this actually. Somebody commented on my March of the Eagles video from like 2 years ago. And we kind of shared a moment where we're like, damn, how good could that game have been if they wouldn't have just stopped doing anything with it? I felt the same way about Imperator Rome, but thankfully they keep pushing at it. They keep trying to make it better. And that's one of the things I love about Paradox games. They don't rest on their laurels. And in this case, Imperator Rome is a fun game, but it's also it had some issues at release that have gotten better, but I still think there's room to grow, and I think Marius Imperator Rome 2.0 is just going to change absolutely everything, and it's going to be brilliant. Ah, delicious water. Crusader Kings 3, I'm waiting right now. I'm waiting for a DLC announcement. CK3 is a game I really, really enjoy. I haven't played it a huge amount outside of the series I did last year, but I'm just waiting for an excuse to get back into it. I'm waiting for them to rebalance Man-at-Arms. I'm hoping that comes relatively soon. Or if it doesn't, you know, I'll just live with it. But I think Men-at-Arms are just way too powerful. It's too easy to build a bunch of buildings and get them to ridiculous levels where you're beating like 5-to-1 odds pretty regularly, which didn't really happen in medieval combat. So that's why I'm hoping they'll tone that down a little bit, or maybe give levies a buff. None of that will affect my enjoyment of the game. It's just something that I would personally like to see them change. Stellaris, is another game where it's like, give me a DLC. But even if they don't, they've already announced adding intel into the game and espionage, which I think sounds great. And I'm looking forward to that a lot. Tabletop Simulator honestly could have been in the same font size as OTP 21. Conservatively, I have many board games. I spent some time yesterday starting on a Board Game Geek list of all the games I own, and then I got exhausted doing it after I got to about 25. So I will be finishing that up, and once I complete that list, I'll post it for everyone to see. This War of Mine, One Last Ride, is very much in the front of my brain as something I would like to do on the channel, and will do on the channel at some point in 2021. It's such a good game. It tells such great stories, and I think what I've learned since the last playthrough I did on camera is enough to maybe give me some hope at beating it. But even if I don't, it's such a great story that I'm going to do it. And that'll be good fun. As you'll see a couple of other times in this presentation, I have question marks. If I have one question mark, it means I'm going to do it. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. Two question marks is I'm ambivalent for some reason, but I wouldn't object to doing it. Three is there's something either fundamentally wrong with the game or the way the game has been received on the channel that makes me leery about doing it again, even if I personally wouldn't mind doing it again. Hearts of Iron 4 is it one question mark only because of Tabletop Simulator. I'm getting my war games fix a lot just by playing Tabletop Simulator. And without that need to play a war game, Hearts of Iron 4 just doesn't feel as important to me. That being said, if they released a big DLC, especially one for the Soviet Union, Paradox, I would probably almost certainly do another series of it. I'm waiting for inspiration. I'm waiting for either the perfect, interesting alternate history scenario that I can give a try to, or a DLC. Also, I still don't like the feeling in my brain that Turkey gave me, so that is where we are with Hearts of Iron 4. EU4 is two question marks. One, because like Hearts of Iron 4, a bug or an error in the game ruined my enjoyment quite a bit. But more importantly, now this is me speaking purely personally. Full disclosure, I was at one time a forum moderator for Paradox Games. I haven't been for over 2 years. I don't know what's going on in the company, but I have a sneaking suspicion Europa Universalis 5 is getting announced this year. I just have this feeling that they don't have a big tentpole franchise that they are working on that I'm aware of that's been announced. And I know Crusader Kings 3 was massive last year, but I have to believe that they're working on something else, especially since CK3 is mostly being handled by one of the other studios in the Paradox family. So, you heard it here first, maybe. I don't know what other videos you watch, but I think we're going to see EU5 announced at the end of this, sometime by the end of 2021, with release in 2022. The reason I won't play EU4 is mostly because of that glitch, but just because EU4 is there's too much content, which you're like, wait, what? But I really think it has been. I think they're running out of truly impactful DLC that they can release to change the game experience. And it feels like common sense, which added the ability to make empires much taller, which I love. It seems like the others have just been, here are some new countries we're adding. I can't remember the last time they introduced a mechanic that really grabbed my attention and made me go, yeah, that's really cool. The new governments I do like, but I don't remember when that was released, which expansion that was, so I'm at the point where I think EU4 needs to be replaced with EU5. If that doesn't happen by the end of this year, will I consider playing another EU4 series? Maybe. I just don't know. RimWorld is about me liking the game, but I'm getting the sense that y'all don't. And maybe it's because you don't care about RimWorld. Maybe it's because there's too much other RimWorld content on YouTube. Whatever. I get the sense that you folks don't care about RimWorld. If I'm wrong, correct me. And if you're all like, "Oh my God, Abby, we must have more RimWorld," I'll play it again tomorrow. But I'm speaking figuratively. I'm not going to start a brand new series tomorrow. But that's where I'm on RimWorld. For me, I think it's this audience, as I understand it, doesn't like RimWorld, which is fine. I don't begrudge you or mock you or insult you for not liking the game. It's very much an acquired taste, and it appeals to me in a very special way that it probably just doesn't for you. Prison Architect, Paradox, I love you. I will buy most of your games on release. You have fumbled the ball on Prison Architect. Ever since Introversion handed it to you, man, the DLCs have been really bad. They've added little to the game that was meaningful or interesting. I don't know. I get the sense it's kind of become just another thing for Paradox. I'll give them credit that they're continuing to support it and continuing to release DLC for it, but like, am I going to buy the Going Green DLC? I really don't know. I didn't buy the last one, and I don't feel any particular need to do it. So, I don't know. I was also hoping for other games to be released in the Architect franchise, but it looks like that's not happening, at least not happening anytime soon. So, shrug. Surviving Mars is a warm world, but only more so, and that I love the game, but I get the sense that y'all don't. And there's no new content for it. The last DLC they had was their own green friendly, environmentally friendly update, and I get the sense that you guys don't like the game as much as I do. So I'm willing to concede that I probably won't do it again, but I wouldn't mind doing it again. And as the channel continues to grow, there's always a chance that one of the others of you might jump out at me and say, Avi, that Surviving Mars series was brilliant. Why don't you play more of it? And then I'll be like, oh yeah. Right. What's new to the channel? OTP22. It hasn't been officially announced yet, but you know, I feel pretty comfortable wagering a large sum of money. They will announce OTP22 probably in mid-February, and I'm going to pre-order it as soon as it's available. It's just something that's going to happen. And I'm going to love it, and I'm going to do at least one series with it, maybe two. We're going to continue the Tour Through History series. I'm going to import that right into OTP22. We'll just continue with that as is. As far as the Orioles series, I definitely want that to end with the end of 21. And whether that means we pick a new team or a new league or something, I'll leave up to y'all. But yeah, OTP22 is coming to the channel the second I can put it on the channel. Empire of Sin is a turn-based strategy game based on 1920s Chicago, released by the Romeros, the people that created Doom, and so many other wonderful games. I really like Empire of Sin. I love the concept. It's very polished. It's just very shallow right now. Like, I haven't played very much of it. I probably put about 10 hours into it, and I already feel like I've seen 99% of the gameplay. So Empire of Sin might be a short series. It might be a way I handle it differently. I'm not sure, but I'm going to bring it onto the channel because it's too perfect for me. Phoenix Point is a XCOM style game designed by the original developer of XCOM, Julian Gollop, in which you are fighting crab people and other people from the sea. And it's fantastic. I love it. The reason you're looking at a PowerPoint instead of Steam right now is because of Phoenix Point. It's brilliant. I'm waiting to get a few more hours into the campaign before I feel comfortable enough to introduce it to y'all, but I'm really excited about it. Phantom Doctrine is an older game. It's Cold War turn-based strategy. I played it a little bit on my laptop when I was waiting for my new desktop, and I enjoyed it. I understand it's somewhat buggy. I haven't experienced any, but I've barely scratched the surface with it, so it's another game I want to put some time into before I can commit to putting it on the channel. Surviving the Aftermath is a game published by Paradox, but not developed by them, in which you take command of a colony of survivors after some sort of horrifying disaster. and you can pick from various disasters. Um, I bought this game in early access. I played it for about 5 hours, and then I got distracted by other games. I definitely want to play it though, and I really enjoy it. Endless Legend, continuing the turn-based campaign, is kind of Civilization if it was set in a fantasy universe. It's probably the oldest game on this list. In fact, I know it's the oldest game on this list. But it's really fun. And it's something that I haven't seen other people do well, which is turn-based strategy for fantasy other than Total War series, which are just not really my thing. And maybe I'll cover one of those at some point. 2 Point Hospital is a game that I waited to get on sale, but I love everything about it. And especially because I haven't played a good simulator in a while, I think 2 Point Hospital is on the list for sure of games I want to cover next year, this year. Super Hot, I get the sense it was really flashy for a while. I still like it, but this would definitely be a fairly short series if I even did it. It's very flashy, it's very fun, but I don't think it's. I don't know. I might play the new one instead, either Super Hot Control Alt Delete or even Super Hot 2, which I think is coming out if it hasn't already. I don't know. That's a maybe on that one. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think I'd have a good time with it, but it would definitely be a short series. Totally Accurate Battle Simulator is hilarious. It's incredibly silly, but it's still surprisingly rewarding. It's a game in which you take army versus army. You know what your opponent is throwing at you, but you get to design your own army based on however many points you're given. It's surprisingly good. It's still in early access. I think I want it to get a bit more polish, but it's on there. Factorio. A friend of mine that I play Dungeons and Dragons with introduced this to me. I played it. I like it a lot. But I also know that there's tons of Factorio channels already. And I don't think I can cover it any better than they do. It's a really fun game about automating things so that you can then build other things that are even bigger and better. I don't know. I'm on the fence about Factorio. If you have a strong opinion about the game, which is either Avi, I watch way too much Factorio content already, please don't, or Factorio sounds awesome, show it to me, I'll really look forward to that feedback. What am I playing in Tabletop Simulator? Coming soon. Two games that aren't listed here are the games I've already recorded and episodes are coming out. This Wednesday, you'll get Shores of Tripoli, the absolutely amazing first effort by Fort Circle Games, in which one player takes control of the United States, the other takes control of the Barbary Pirates in 1803-04. The following week will be Teotihuacan, City of the Gods, one of my favorite point salad style games. And then there's this list. I'm going to run these down with like one sentence previews. But these are games that will all be on the channel at some point in 2021. 1960 Making of a President is a game about the presidential campaign between Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy. It was, I believe, the closest election in U.S. history, with less than 1% of the popular vote going to Nixon going to Kennedy, for his win. Paths of Glory, World War I war game. Hannibal Rome vs. Carthage, Second Punic War game. Power Grid is an absolutely brilliant economic game that is the Monopoly killer. It's actually the Ticket to Ride killer, in my opinion. Because I'm pretty sure Ticket to Ride killed Monopoly dead. And then Power Grid is like, okay, Ticket to Ride, you were a great game for a long time. Now it's my turn. Versailles 1919. Very thematically, I'll do that after Paths of Glory. It's about the end of World War I. Watergate is about the Nixon scandal. I have nothing with Richard Nixon, one way or the other. He just makes for great board games. Dual Powers about the Russian Revolution of 1917. For the People, American Civil War. 13 Days is Cuban Missile Crisis. War of the Ring is basically Lord of the Rings in a war game format. Agricola, All Creatures Great and Small, is a two-player version of Agricola that's fantastic. Seven Wonders Duel, I just recently picked up the 2 expansions for it, and they're amazing, and I'm looking forward to those. And this is just scratching the surface of games I want to put on the channel. As always, I won't cover a game if I don't own it, but I buy board games all the time. And I'm going to be publishing a board game geek list so y'all can see which games I own and what I think of them. And that'll also help you understand games that I might cover on the channel. And this is assuming I don't replay anything from last year, which is definitely a possibility, for sure. Here's the schedule. This is what I'm planning to do short term. We'll continue doing the 2 OOTP videos on Monday and Friday. We'll keep doing Tabletop Simulator on Wednesday. One thing I want to pilot, and I've done this with a little bit in the channel in the past, but I really want to make it kind of a semi-regular thing, are Let's Looks, which are games that I think I want to cover or have a really strong opinion about them, one way or the other, but I'm just going to do one video on them. Else Heart.break is, I think, my favorite of these that I've done, where I explain why I didn't like the game, even though superficially it seemed like the perfect game for me. And I've done it with other games too. I'm just planning to do a little bit more of that, where I do one episode either because the game is really repetitive, and if you see 1 hour, you've seen all of it, or because I feel strongly about one piece of the game that I want to highlight or not highlight, or something like that. And starting in March, maybe, possibly, I might start doing 4 videos a week again. I don't know that for sure yet, but I'm definitely planning on bringing more games to the channel. Whether that's because I only go back to one OTP series, or because I have more time, or because I can squeeze like an entire month out of Tabletop Simulator. 1 month, I don't know, but I want to start doing more videos. I'm not at the point where I can commit to doing it in February, but I think March is when I'm going to consider it. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is, in March, when I start up the new series, which of these 4 games would you like to see first? This War of Mine, Phoenix Point, Empire of Sin, or Surviving the Aftermath. You can go ahead and place your comments down below. You can tell me which of those games sounds most exciting to you. I'm probably going to do a Twitter poll in February, in which the options may slightly change, but probably not. Another thing I'd like to see in the comment section here is games you'd like to see me do a Let's Look for. If there's a game that you just want me to cover because everyone else is covering it or is curious of my opinions on it, you can throw a comment down below and let me know. Board games you want me to cover on Tabletop Simulator, but I'm going to ask you to hold on your recommendations until you see the games I already own when I do the Board Game Geek list. I'll probably post a video announcing that once it's ready. But that's the other thing I want. And then finally, OTP 22 ideas would be really appreciated. I also do a call for this in the Friday OTP video, but I wouldn't mind hearing that even sooner. So do feel free to provide me with some feedback so that I know what you guys want to see, first in the near future and then in the long term. But until next time, this has been Avindian. Thank you for watching and supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. And until next time, I bid you good day.